So, ladies and gentlemen, so we start the next program, and I will be talking to Sanjay Sharma. How do you want it to go? How would you like it to go? You can sit? Yes. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, introducing you to Sanjay Sharma, and we will now start the dialogue. And he's going to now tell you about his life. Why did he turn to spirituality? What has he gained from it? What is his future plans? And by the way, let me tell you, his children they are doing so well. His son, you'll be surprised what people used to do in India now. He started when he was in college, I think, or in school. He started buying very expensive sports shoes in the US. And then those expensive sports shoes, he used to buy them in bulk and then sell them at a huge profit. And today, he's so successful that he's being written about by so many people. There are so many TV channels that came to his house and interviewed him and all those things in the US. He's an entrepreneur doing extremely well for himself. His daughter is also a consultant.
Yeah.
She is a consultant and chartered accountant or PW?
No, she majored in genetics and moved to consulting, where she started with TCS, and then she's moved on.
Okay. So now we start I've attended a conference, they call this, there is a table and they call the fireside chat, but forget the fire, let's start.
No worries, we will light the fire here.
Sanjay,
Okay.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
So I'll be very brief in my questions and you'll be, please speak for a little elaborate.
Sure.
Yeah.
First of all, so thank you so much for your kind words of introduction. As Mr. Bala said, that I did have a pretty checkered career, including my 3 years in SRA. I think I would be probably the most notorious intern of those times, and who was called to Mr. Iyer's office also more than once. So it's just like going to the principal's office, so you know what I mean. So a little bit about myself. I had a very humble start. So growing up in a household where me, my older brother, my parents literally used to live in one single room home in Rajouri Garden. It was a garage of a huge house, and we were just one room. That was our bedroom, that was our kitchen, the bathroom, you had to go out. And growing up, I always felt that, maybe we have the material means which are less, but it was more than compensated by the love which my parents gave me. Okay, and growing up, I was absolutely very, very naughty. Throughout the day, I would be outside playing, and studies was the last thing in my mind. Okay, but the moment of reckoning came when I went to 11th grade, and the first time in my life I studied macroeconomics, and I realized that the only way to break the vicious circle of poverty is education. Because growing up, I remember I used to go to a government school, and mine was the afternoon shift. So in the morning, there would be girls going to the school, and afternoon it was the boys. And I was looking at those kids going to the school in their colorful uniform with their nice shiny shoes and the ties, which I remember. And I would wait for my turn at 1 o'clock, where I would go in my white shirt and a khaki pant and a Hawaii chappal if I was lucky at those times. So growing up in those meager, means in terms of materialistic availability, I realized that the only way to break that vicious cycle is education. So I think 11th was the time when I started a little bit serious in studies, and I took the commerce stream, and then of course 12th, I scored good marks, and I went to the Hansraj College in Delhi University, where I met my wife, in fact. So we go back more than 40 years now. And then, of course, I joined the Chartered Accountancy course under Mr. Bala. And after doing my CA, I was in various corporate finance roles in India, in Delhi, The first time I moved out of Delhi was, I think, 1997. Got hired by a multinational company based out of London, and I went there as a CFO in one of the units in Southeast Asia, in Laos, of all the places. The reason I'm sharing this story with you is that one part of my life was always dealing with these materialistic pursuits, because 99.9% of the humanity, we keep on spending whatever God-given life to us is in those materialistic pursuits, okay? Nothing wrong with that, because absolutely you do need a financial security around yourself and around your loved ones, so that you don't have to bother about bread on the table and a good future for your kids. So that was all happening with me, sir, all those years. I didn't know S of spirituality. I mean, I went to United States in year 2000, and being born and up like a Punjabi Munda in Delhi, I used to introduce myself as Scotch drinking, Bhangra dancing Punjabi Munda from Delhi. Okay, that was my description, and that was pretty much who I was. So every weekend we'll have parties, and of course, coming from the similar background, we all had our favorite poisons. So typical enjoying life, and because I have made it big in consulting and otherwise. So the money which was always the roadblock in my life, that was already overcome. So I think the timing was pretty much right. And what happened was, in the year 2007, a very dear friend of mine, she visited us from Connecticut to New Jersey, and she told me that she's there for some kind of a discourse or something, which I later realized that she was talking about going to a discourse by Sadhguru, one in Coimbatore. Now, of course, he has ashram in Tennessee in US also. So that was my first introduction to spirituality, and she gave me the book, Autobiography of a Yogi, and my first read of that book, I thought that, what is this hocus pocus, where, we're talking about one person being available in multiple places at the same time, right? And, but that something triggered in me. I think me meeting with her after many, many years was a catalyst of something which was burning inside me all this while. So that's where the process started. And for many, many years, since 2007, my materialistic pursuits were going in parallel with my spiritual pursuits. And of course, I looked at various offerings which those gurus of the current world, they have. So we can speak a little bit more about that. But this is just a background of mine. Sorry for the long monologue.
Yeah. So when did actually you get you saw the light inside you, that you should, take an absolute right angle turn and take up spirituality in a very serious manner?
Right. It's a good question. So what happened was that, as I said, since 2007, I was pursuing my spiritual pursuit. So started with Sadhguru, both me and my wife, we did the initial course, the inner engineering and so forth. And then I transitioned to Vipassana. I don't know if anyone has heard. Just raise of hands. Has anyone heard about Vipassana? Okay, great. Oh, wow, lots of people. So I did my first 10-day course, I think, in 2015, and then multiple courses. Because what happened was, during this process, I came across a beautiful scripture called Ashtavakra Gita. Most of the people have heard of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Very few people, I think, have heard about Ashtavakra Gita. And I kid you not, just go Google it, chat GPT it when you go back home. Look up Ashtavakra Gita. It's the epitome of spirituality. It is the epitome of Advaita Vedanta, which the bottom line is that you are the one, Tat Twam Asi. And the fact that in us, in each one of us, is the same God. I mean, call it God, Allah, consciousness, pick your name, okay? But the same energy, same tattva, as they say, is there in everyone. So when I was reading about Ashtavakra Gita, so the bottom line is just, you are the one, and okay, I'm the one, so what do I do? What do I do with this vyavaharik dunya, transactional world? So the idea was, by Ashtavakra, it says, you be the witness, Sakshi Bhav. Okay? So I got the theory, okay? So I need to be witness of what's going all around. Develop a good distance between me and my relations and positions. Because 99.9% of our problems arise from our over-attachment with our relations and possessions, right? Till now, typically in Indian family, not only we are so attached with our own offsprings, but we want to be attached with their offsprings also. Come on, guys, quit it. You had kids, you raised them well, let them go, let them take care of your own kids. And I'm not kidding, by the way. When our own daughter, when she tells us that, hey, Dad, now I'm going to settle down. Eventually, I don't know when she's going to settle down. But we'll have a room in our house for you and you can come and take care of our kids. I said, no way. Your kids, your problem. We took care of you. You deal with it now, okay? So if you have become American kids, who will just have a room for mom and dad in their rooms, I'm equally an American parent, okay? Right? So coming back to the point of how it transitioned. So slowly, as I said, the theory part came into my mind through Ashtavakra Gita. And when I came across Vipassana, it told me how to be witness. Because Vipassana is a technique propounded by Buddha more than 2,500 years ago. And it was kept in the most pious form through Guru Shishya Parampara in Burma, now Myanmar. And Mr. S.N. Goenka, part of the Goenka family in India, he was in Burma, he was born there, so he brought it to India and elsewhere in the world. So long story short, a bulb lit in my mind. Theory, Ashtavakra Gita, what does it say? Be the witness. And practical, Vipassana, which tells you how to be witness, because it tells you how to focus on your breath, it tells you how to focus on your sensations in your body. So that's what happened, in many years, till last 2 years. But I'll take a pause here and...
Yeah. Okay. So now I wanted to ask you, how this transition affected your normal life and your attachment, because you said you must detach with your family. So is it really the case that you're detached with the family now that your wife is here?
Yeah, absolutely. So attachment or detachment doesn't mean that you are physically detached. It's more about your mental thing. Just like anything in this life, it's always mind over matter. I kid you not. If you tell me that you never ran a mile in your life, but your mind tells me that you're ready to run a full marathon, I can prepare you to run a full marathon, because I myself have run a full marathon when I turned 45. Okay? So it's mind over matter. So anything and everything is possible. When I say detachment, I mean a healthy detachment, that you give them, you love them, you provide for them to the extent you have to, but you have to be detached yourself at the mental level. Now here, sir, I have a very interesting theory. I hope it's original, but as they say, nothing original is coming anymore, because whatever could be said and could be written, it's already done. But just humor me. Okay, so my theory is of a theory of cocentric circles. So each one of us sitting here is the center point. Okay? Just, I wish I had a paper and a pen I could draw, but visually think that you are the dot, you are the center point. And every relationship you have is the concentric circle. For example, when you were born, of course your parents were the closest concentric circles. Then your siblings, then as you grew up, your friends. Then when you grew up, your girlfriend or boyfriend, or then spouses. And then your kids. Just look back in your own life. Don't you see how closely you were connected, starting from your parents to your siblings, to your friends, to your spouse, to your kids, right? And these concentrics keep on moving up and down. Because once you start, when the teenage kicks in, the hormones kick in, okay, your girlfriend or boyfriend is the most concentric circle, the closest concentric circle you have. Parents, you don't listen to them anymore, right? So anyway, So the point here is that we need to recognize the fact that while dealing with these concentric circles, ultimately you have to focus on that center point, that is you yourself. And it's interesting, again, nothing original, but when people say, hey, when they call their friend, hey, I'm feeling bored, why don't you come over? Feeling bored with yourself? How much of a bore you are, or you must have been that you get bored of yourself, right? So the point is that we need to spend a lot of time with ourselves, okay? The journey to material pursuits is an external, outwards journey. The journey to spiritual pursuits is an inward journey, okay? And I don't think there is a disconnect between both. You can be present along in the crowd with your family, in your office, but still deeply connected with yourself. That's the beauty of this spiritual journey. It's so beautiful because what we are seeking in this life, sir, is peace and happiness, okay? When they say, what is the purpose of your life? The purpose of your life is to realize that you are the God. Tat Twam Asi, Ahem Brahmasmi. All those Mahavakyas of our scriptures are truly, truly representation of the years and I would say centuries of the research which our scientists, which we call them yogis of the yore, have done in the past. And those were the years when India was at its glorified best. Okay? And that's when they say that the whole spiritual journey and the pursuit to this spiritual journey starts when, your financial needs are met. So no wonder when India was called Sone Ki Chidiya, that was the time when this was at the height of its boom. I'm talking about the spiritual pursuits. Now, there's no wonder, in the United States from last so many decades, people are pursuing spirituality, such a huge thing. And from last 30, 35, 40 years, for good, bad, or indifferent reasons, I think the whole spiritual industry, the Baba industry, I call them, is the biggest industry. Check your numbers. Go check your numbers. The sheer amount of wealth which these so-called Babas have accumulated, I don't have any hard feelings about that, okay? Because I'm a born optimist. No matter how much wealth they have accumulated, but the good thing they have done is that they spread the word of spirituality all across the world. Because it tells you that there is more than just the material wealth. How many houses? You talked about our houses. Yes, we do have a portfolio of real estate in India and in US also, but how much is enough? Where can you stop? I stopped at the age of 52, 8 years ago. Okay, now I'm dating myself. Yes, I'll be 60 in less than a month, okay? But I took a call and I retired from my corporate pursuits at the age of 52 because I said it's enough, right? Because, this is a rat race. Even if you win the rat race, you're still a rat, okay? So you have given a birth of a human being, and they say, if you go back to scriptures, they said, even devtas, they yearn for this birth. They yearn to be human beings, because as a human is the only chance you have to reach the God, to understand that you are the one.
Finally, closing, going forward, what are your plans?
My plans is to seriously pursue my own spiritual path. As I said, we'll keep it. So 2 years ago, what happened was, I was listening about, search of the guru. As they say, you don't look for a guru, the guru looks for you. You don't search for him, he searches for you. I met my own guru, sheer by accident. And my guru is, I kid you not, he's 2 years younger to me. He's my childhood friend, engineer by training, but he's a monk. The last I heard from about him was in early 1990s, because after completing his engineering, he was working with Modi Xerox. The fact I knew was that he has ran away from his home, gone to Calcutta and become a monk. And when I met him after like 25, 30 years, in just like this, after having various discussions, I was convinced that the way I was seeking the consciousness, the God, without the name and the form, because that's what I gravitated towards through Ashtavakra Gita and Vipassana, that's not going to give me the final breakthrough in this life. which will take me to the God. And he says, Bhakti is the only way in this Kalikal to make that ultimate breakthrough, to reach the God and be one with them. And my wife also was so surprised. Here is a guy who would just go in front of the temple and won't go inside. I used to tell my wife, okay, you go inside the sanctum sanctorum, I'm not interested. I brought you here, that's it. And within months, I was transformed. And I told my guru, I said, all in poker terms, yes, I want to take the Diksha. I took the Diksha almost 2 years ago. That's why you see the tilak. In fact, my brother-in-law today was saying, hey, you're going to a corporate event now. Why this? I said, this is part of my identity now. Okay? Wherever I go, this is part of me, morning and evening. Okay? I proudly wear it, and I proudly wear it as my commitment towards my own cause. And I highly, highly recommend you, each one of you, okay, no matter what you're pursuing in your life, please, please, please look inside. You have been spending all your life with your concentric circles. It's time to go to the center point. That's you, yourself.
Ooh, well, thank you so much, Sanjay. And I'll permit one question, and from